This is KCTV English News. I'm Nick Brontes. Local officials say Typhoon Solek caused over 5.2 billion won in damage when it hit Jeju last month. The provincial government says 12,000 damage reports were filed. They include the loss of a breakwater at Yemeni port and damage to the roof of Jeju Gymnasium. Those two problems alone will cost over 3 billion won to fix. The typhoon also damaged private property to the tune of 1.2 billion won. That includes 380 million won in damage to vinyl greenhouses and 270 million won in damage to 60 houses. Work is underway to fix Yemeni port, and the damage to the gym roof is covered by insurance. Local officials plan to come up with a recovery plan for the remaining damage and then submit it to the Ministry of Public Administration and Security. Officials have granted humanitarian stay permits to 23 of the Yemenis who came to Jeju and applied for refugee status in the first half of the year. The Ministry of Justice's Jeju Immigration Service announced Friday the results of its screening of 484 applications from Yemenis seeking asylum. The 23 include families with young children, pregnant women, minors, and the injured. They were granted a one-year stay on humanitarian grounds. Immigration officials denied them official refugee status because they failed to meet the 5 criteria defined by the Refugee Convention and the refugee law. The Immigration Office says it will finish its review of the remaining 40 or so Yemeni asylum seekers' applications next month and then announce its decisions on them. 22 of the 23 people who received permission to stay in the country will leave Jeju for Seoul or Busan. The 11th Provincial Council is moving ahead with the process of forming an April 3rd Incident Committee. The Council Steering Committee convened for the first time Friday and passed a resolution submitted by Independent Council member Ho Chang-ok to form the April 3rd Incident Committee. It still needs to pass at a general meeting of the Council, but analysts foresee few problems there, as the steering committee includes the chairs of the body's 6 standing committees and all floor negotiation groups. The proposal calls for an at most 13-member committee with a one-year term. It will focus on getting amendments to the April 3rd Incident Special Law passed, expanding government support for incident victims and their families, and resolving other issues. Local officials plan to start a new service that gives the parents of special needs students real-time information on their location while they're on their way to and from school. The province, the Education Office, and the Kakao Corporation will work together on the project for the parents of students at Yeongji, Yeongsong, and Onsong schools. Equipment will be installed on the children's buses that send the vehicle's current locations to parents by text. The province will run the program on a trial basis this year and then expand it next year to the buses used to transport people who have a hard time getting around on their own. The Chuseok holidays are just around the corner. It takes a certain amount of money to celebrate them in the traditional fashion. At this expensive time of the year, more than 2,000 workers on the island are owed overdue wages. Joseph Kim reports.
This is the Jeju office of the Gwangju Regional Employment and Labor Administration. People constantly visit this office to report their overdue wages. A carpenter in his 60s tells that he hasn't been paid wages for work he performed 2 years ago.
노임을 받아야 되는데 지금 작년 재작년에 일한 거예요 이것이. 하루가 하루 먹는 사람들 노임을 지금 돈을 친다고 반밖에 안 준다는 거예요 50%.
The office is also frequently visited by young workers in their 20s. One of them worked at a restaurant as a part-timer during school vacation, but the employer hasn't paid some of the wages.
이유는 말씀 안 해주시고 계속 내일 주겠다 이런 식으로만 말씀하시고 지금 결국 이제 법적으로 14일이 지난 상태에서도 아직까지도 다 나머지가 입금이 안 되고 있는 상태고.
2,060 local workers reported their unpaid wages of about 7.6 billion won this year. 4.16 billion won has been paid among the reported overdue wages. 3.1 billion won is being sought after through lawsuits. The Employment and Labor Office is now dealing with the other 340 million won in complaints. The accumulated amount of overdue wages has increased 68% this year compared to last year. The slump in the construction and tourism industries is a contributing factor. Among business types, finance and real estate sectors have the most amount of unpaid wages, which accounts for 30%. Wholesale and retail business, restaurant and accommodation sectors account for 23%, and the construction sector accounts for 21%. This year, more than 50% of the overdue payment cases was ascribed to temporary financial difficulties at businesses. In 35% of the cases, employees and employers argue over facts. The province says that it will make every effort for the 340 million won to be paid before the Chuseok holiday. Late payments are reported every year. With the nation's biggest holiday coming up fast, many laborers sigh and wait for a resolution. Joseph Kim, KCTV.
Korean and international movies are being screened for free at 3 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday at the Jeju Movie Culture and Art Center in Tapdong. All of the rain should stop by early Tuesday, with skies remaining mostly cloudy for the rest of the day. For more, here's your forecast. The morning low in Jeju City will be 22 and the afternoon high 27 degrees. In Seogwipo, temperatures will fall between 23 and 28. In Seongsan, the low before lunch will be 21 and the high later on 27 degrees. Across the island in Gosan, temperatures will range from 22 to 26. And the morning low up on the mountain at Songpanak will be 17 and the afternoon high 22 degrees. Out on the water, winds will be out of the north and northeast at 7 to 12 meters per second, and seas will be between 1/2 and 2 meters. And here's a look at the extended forecast. That brings us to the end of today's newscast. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you'll tune in next time. Until then, find us online at eng.kctvjeju.com. 시청자 여러분, 고맙습니다.